History is filled with siblings killing each other for the throne. From the Ottomans to the Plantagenets, the blueprint for succession usually involves much blood. But the ancient Indian epic, the Ramayana, presents a bizarre anomaly. A kingdom is thrown into absolute chaos, not because someone is fighting for the crown, but because the heir aggressively refuses to take it. The story begins in the prosperous kingdom of Ayodhya. King Dasharatha is preparing to pass the torch to his beloved eldest son, Lord Rama, who is universally recognized as the righteous heir. Then the politics hit. Queen Kaikeyi calls in two ancient favors from the king, forcing a devastating ultimatum. Rama must be exiled to the forest for 14 years, and her own son, Bharata, must be crowned king instead. He travels back to Ayodhya, expecting bright, vibrant celebrations. Instead, he walks into a silent, weeping city. The truth hits him all at once. His father has died of heartbreak, his brother is banished, and his own mother orchestrated the entire disaster. Legally speaking, Bharata is now the uncontested, most powerful man in the empire. He has won the ultimate political prize. But he looks at this absolute power and sees only a blood-soaked burden. Bharata's first act as the theoretical king is to completely reject the title. He confronts his mother in a fury, condemning her political maneuvering as a terrible sin and refusing to accept the power she stole for him. He immediately gathers the royal ministers, the army, and the citizens and marches them deep into the forest of Chitrakoot. He isn't going to secure his borders. He's going to find Rama and surrender the empire back to him. When the brothers finally meet, they hit a massive philosophical wall. The ancient concept of Dharma, righteous duty, prevents a simple handover of power. This diagram outlines exactly why neither side can budge. On one side, King Dasharatha's unbreakable vow acts as a massive legal weight. For Rama, returning to rule Ayodhya would mean breaking his father's promise, which is a direct violation of his Dharma. But Bharata is bound by his own strict moral code. Accepting a stolen throne would violate his loyalty to his brother. It creates a complete constitutional deadlock. Neither brother can legally or morally yield. The royal sages plead with Rama, the ministers beg him, but even the threat of a collapsing state cannot force Rama to break his vow. He is staying in the forest for 14 years. Ayodhya is left without a sitting monarch. To keep the empire from fracturing, Bharata realizes he has to invent a completely radical mechanism of governance. This visual represents Bharata's ingenious compromise. He requests Lord Rama's wooden sandals, carries these simple, weathered shoes back to the capital, and places them directly in the center of the royal throne. This physical token becomes the foundation of a proxy administration. Bharata decrees that the sandals are the true rulers of Ayodhya. Every law passed, every royal decision made, is executed entirely in Rama's name. Bharata even rejects the geography of power. He refuses to live in the palace, moving his entire administration to the humble outskirts of the city, in a village called Nandigram. While acting as regent, he strips away every royal luxury. He wears rough tree bark, sleeps on the bare ground, and eats the simplest food. He possesses the absolute authority to command an entire civilization, yet he deliberately chooses the daily, grueling existence of a lowly servant. He manages the empire's vast administration for 14 long years. He holds total control over the state's wealth and armies, counting down the days without once indulging in the privileges of his position. By utilizing the sandals, Bharata stripped the crown of its personal glamour. He transformed the throne into a post of pure accountability, a duty held in trust for another, rather than a prize of ownership. The 14-year exile eventually ends. Lord Rama defeats the demon king Ravana and finally makes his journey back to Ayodhya. When he arrives, Bharata doesn't hesitate. He joyfully returns the absolute power he has wielded for over a decade. He hands back the empire in perfect condition, completely uncorrupted by his time at the helm. Because the man at the top lived with such extreme personal integrity, corruption never took root in the bureaucracy. This decade of selfless management stabilized the kingdom, creating the foundation for Ramrajya, a legendary golden age. This era of truth and justice was only possible because Bharata safeguarded the moral and political soul of the kingdom when it was at its most vulnerable. His legacy proves that authority is meaningless without humility. Bharata demonstrates that the highest form of devotion requires putting righteousness above your own ambition.